friends, hope all of you are doing good. My name is Animesh and today's topic is proof of work versus proof of stake. Nowadays there are more than 1,000 cryptocurrencies which are existing out there. The blockchain technology is what is powering these emerging cryptocurrencies. We have understood what is a blockchain in general, what is the basic concept and how it is structured. I have put up the link. I had covered it in one of my videos. You can go ahead and watch it. To understand what is proof of stake and what is staking, we need to understand something related to proof of work. So Bitcoin is related to proof of work. In proof of work, what happens is everybody is competing with each other to generate a specific number, which is validating that particular block of transaction. And in blockchain, we know that unless it is validated by a certain number, which is agreed upon by everyone, the transaction block is not validated. Now, since everybody is competing with each other to generate that number, the higher the computational power, the higher the chance of getting that number. So this means the person who has the most compute power or who has more money to invest in computing wins. Now, this is giving rise to a lot of economic problems in terms of consumption of electricity. This is also giving rise to people setting up their server farms just for the purpose of mining. Why I have used the term mining? Because once you validate, you're gifted in terms of bitcoins. Now everybody is competing to generate that number, and once you generate that number, the transaction block is validated, and for your effort, you're gifted with some amount of bitcoins. Now this method is somewhat time consuming because it cannot be scaled to a large extent, because you're limited with the network itself, which is the peer-to-peer network which you are distributed in. Also, people are now combining these huge farms together, which are called as mining farms, and they are distributing the generated Bitcoin amongst themselves equally. So this is giving rise to another centralization problem. Suppose 5 billionaires come together and they set up a huge server farm each, and they are combining that computational power to generate or to validate all the transactions in the world. Obviously, all the bitcoins that are generated out of this go to them. So again, it's kind of a centralization which is taking place. This is defeating the whole purpose of why blockchain was set up in the first place. To overcome these issues, a new concept was introduced, which is called as staking and proof of stake. So how does proof of stake work? So imagine you have a computer and you decide that I want to be a validator. In order to become a validator, there is a very lengthy process. To become a validator, you need a minimum amount of cryptocurrency to be held as a collateral against this proposition. That means you have to keep aside some cryptocurrency for becoming a validator. That's the very first point. Second point, you should be having a 24/7 running system. So that means you have to keep your computer or whatever setup that you have available 24/7. The more amount of money that you keep, the more the chances of you getting selected are prominent. So this works in such a way that imagine you have a network of 10 people, just for explanation. So out of these 10 people, 5 people have chosen to be validators. So they have kept aside some money. Out of these 5, randomly any one can be chosen to validate that particular block of transaction. This randomness is determined on the amount of money you have staked. So for example, 5 people had nominated. Out of these 5, let's say number 1, 2, 3 and 4 all had allocated, let's say, $10. But number 5 had allocated $1,000. So that means the chance of number 5 getting picked to validate that block is much more higher than number 1 to 4. The security aspect of this is you have much more to lose than to gain. So for example, if you do a fraud, you lose your staked amount for the fraud you're trying to commit, and nobody wants to lose their money. So it is 100% successful all the time, because the amount of money held against the amount of money that you want to create using fraud will always be lower than what is held. So you can look at staking as very similar to a fixed deposit, right? What you're doing essentially is making a system available 24/7, and you are allocating some cryptocurrency as a security which is held, and you're getting a stable income through validation. So once you validate, you're rewarded in terms of some coin which is of that network. So for example, if it is Bitcoin, or let's not take Bitcoin as an example, let's take let's say tomorrow if Ether becomes proof of stake, then Ether, right? So you have held some Ether as security and you have become a validator, and once you are nominated for validating that block of transaction, you earn some Ether. So what did essentially happen is you're earning Ether based on your staked amount of cryptocurrency that you put aside. The proof of stake concept is definitely here to stay and to get adopted very soon. Ethereum 2.0 is also working on similar concepts and trying to adopt or trying to establish this proof of stake concept. Yep, so that was it. Hope it was a little bit clear for you. What is proof of stake? What is proof of work? If you like it, please leave a thumbs up, and yep, until next time, start early, invest now. Cheers.